2 on the way here in just a few moments' time. And currently, Tempo Storm leads 1-0 against the current reigning world champions. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience are looking for Tempo Storm to maybe take the 2-0. That, my friends, is a powerful tool. The amount of ambition and motivation behind the Tempo Storm group right now is going to be furious. It is going to be very, very deadly here, going up against a team like Fnatic. Fnatic normally thrives off the crowd, but right now the crowd is pretty much against them. I mean, usually Fnatic are those fan favorites, the childhood sweethearts from that region of Europe, with the Swedish boy band, as we so call. But I mean, yeah, with the 3 North American teams making it here, the BlizzCon arena itself, obviously they're loving this. They're really behind them. Obviously, they make a quirky strat behind it. They bring it out. Yeah. I was critical of the Tales of Doom win rate on Phase 2. At 33%, they say, screw your stats. Watch this. There's the potential for bracket magic here for Tempo Storm, Grubby.
How do you mean?
I mean, the Tempo Storm could quite easily take a 2-0 with the position that they're in currently.
Yeah, of course. They're 1-0 ahead. It's a match point for Fnatic here. And, you know, to find ourselves in this situation, we didn't expect to be here, but connecting the dots, let's take a look at the challenge for Fnatic. They're coming off of the win at the Western Clash #2. They won the mid-season brawl. Where do you go when you're already on the summit of a mountain? You need to find a taller mountain to climb, but it's tough because you were the best already. Yeah. So going into a tournament like this, it is difficult to prepare, but of course they knew that. They had time to balance it themselves.
They had a pretty easy group going into this as well. So they didn't show very many strategies, but I think they kind of have had this slump coming into this tournament in terms of mentality, and they had an easier group. Most would consider this to be a fairly easy opponent for Fnatic. So exactly where is that motivation? And when they were able to defeat MVP Black, the crowd was cheering for them. Now this same crowd here is cheering against them, and it's got to feel like, you know, the tables are turned.
Let's find out which battleground we're going to next to see if Tempo Storm can do it here. As we are going to head, Fnatic is taking us to Cursed Hollow, Skimmy.
Yeah, I really like this direction. I was going to say it's either between Cursed Hollow or Sky Temple, a map where a team like Fnatic, they are very macro-orientated. They can really flex that might, say, look, you had a very team fight orientated squad just before. We're not going to allow you to have that kind of same ability to set up the map that's going to promote that kind of style. We're going to Cursed Hollow. We'll rotate. We'll use globals. You'll never get that situation again.
All right, it's time for the second draft here. Tempo Storm currently leads 1-0 against the world champions here in the round of 8. And Grubby, I've got to ask, in the group stage, we saw Fnatic have a stumbling block, and then after that, go to the Stitches Kael'thas.
Yeah, Fnatic lost 1 map in the groups to Team Freedom, also from North America, also on Towers of Doom. They also ran a lot of single support right wing. Just now, single support Kharazim, who didn't have cleanse. They're going to stick with their Tassadar ban, so that part has not been a kind of, let's say, smoke screen. But if Fnatic was ever thinking of possibly holding back strategies, going up against Tempo to safeguard their procession into the grand finals, that has evaporated entirely. They need to pull out all the stops here and take Tempo Storm fully seriously.
Yeah, I like this approach by Tempo Storm. They're taking the Dahaka that we saw in first rotation on the previous map as well. One of the reasons why Fnatic had to be so aggressive on Towers is Doom is because they fell behind early. Dahaka was able to do a lot in top and mid. Those lanes were always pushed. Forced aggressive play by Fnatic. Those aggressive invades, which is where those polybombs were quite strong, obviously. Defensively used there with the Warlord's challenge. So again, if they want to draft a style that can take the fight to Fnatic defensively, it looks like that's where the preparation is at right now.
I mean, let's actually read into these bans themselves specifically. When Fnatic went up against Team Freedom in those group stages, they did have right wing, they had Falstead, they had Dahaka. You ban one, you take the other. You're very limiting that sort of that chokehold, so to speak, and that's going to get Fnatic in a bit of a situation where they need to think outside the box. They need to take this ETC, flex that potential to go for the stage dive.
Yeah, that first pick, Dahaka, for the reason you said, Skimmy, and for the reason of Caterpillar's prowess on that hero. Seeing Caterpillar on Dahaka, it's been my favorite hero for him. He plays it so well, and we saw that in the last game. And if you can catch 2 flies with 1 net, then yeah, let's do it. Because Dahaka is such a big pick for Fnatic on maps like these.
Yeah, Muradin here coming in as well was, you know, against them in the last set, but a very different draft. I think this draft for Tempo Storm is based on camp clears quickly with the Greymane, the denial pick you talk about, the control of the top lane and globals. Wonder if we'll see Fnatic make a change here to try to go into like a Falstad pick, go into that old style of control of lanes like we saw from them in the past, because if they try to just draft a team fighting comp again here, they don't have that same tool of Muradin they had last time, and I think they're going to get run around here by the Dahaka. The Brightwing removed. Where do they go to here for globals is a question. Or are they going to try to dominate the solo lane? That's something they can try to do, but Tempo Storm I think is very much ready for that possibility.
It's interesting though, because if they are going to start banning out globals against themselves as they hover the Zabitha, it begs the question, after what just happened on Towers of Doom, you go into a map which promotes that style of play, then you're choking that one out. You're thinking, why do we go sort of down this direction, so to speak?
Yeah. And let's say Fnatic picks up Falstad. Let's say they want that direction. Then Tempo Storm still has 2 picks to flex a counter to Falstad. One of them has to be a support, and it won't be Brightwing, so it will not be someone that matches Falstad. But they still have the ability to pick an assassin that punishes Falstad. For example, Illidan, Genji, anytime Falstad is split pushing, they come in there and they can kill him. But they actually, wow, they're going to remove it. So Fnatic is the most global team on maps like this, and Tempo completely countering that.
This is what I was going back to, man. I think Tempo Storm has figured this team out in a lot of ways. This is such a smart way to draft against Fnatic. You have camp control with Greymane. You've got Dahaka for control lanes. You've got Muradin for that top tier warrior. And what supports they pick, I feel like, are so much less important now that these globals are removed.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. I mean, Team Freedom against MVP Black, we're still banning supports. They banned supports for 50% of their bans, Team Freedom. But Tempo Storm has been very up and down. If you look at their bans in the group stage and now, it's whatever they feel fits the moment. They don't follow a pattern like, oh, let's always ban Tassadar first. So they're very unpredictable.
I actually really like the Falstad ban for the same reason that we know Sam plays the Zeratul. Zeratul being a fantastic pick against, really going to sort of bait out that global, bait out that Gus. But I think, given the way this draft is positioned, if they were the ones doing the second pick, they would have been able to keep that Zeratul as that final pocket pick, much the same as you try and hide a Cho'Gall, for instance. So I like the drafting. But this is the Anub'arak that has eluded us for such a long time, but was such a powerhouse if you date it back a couple of patches.
So this is cool, because we're looking at probably a single support comp for Tempo, and this is where Anub'arak does better. Interestingly as well, though, is that Anub'arak comes out against Greymane, who is sort of a counter against him. So somehow Fnatic is going to try to use all those stunts with Genji to get some serious kills.
I mean, arguably a counter against Genji as well. With dodge changes at level 7, Greymane can jump on and he can just choose between either Genji or the Anub'arak and say thank you very much.
Now, as long as they take the defensive engage, again, I think it's going to be, that's how they're going to win these fights. Just fight back, avoid these tanks directly. We'll see probably the Quicksilver bullets taken at level 7. You have that poke type of Greymane that just eventually will wear these tanks down. They have Muradin here to slow down that dive, and I don't think this is going to be another Medivh pick, but it certainly could be, you know? I mean, it actually works out.
I'm actually looking at Lucio Medivh here. Lucio to block Dragon Blade spread damage, and then Medivh to block someone else. Would be possible. It's not going to be that, though. Limin comes out, one more support, and it's going to be Uther.
I was thinking at this stage you want some point control, because right now you got ETC, Anub'arak, Genji. You got a lot of ideas on the side of Fnatic of looking, if you go for it, boss, we have a way of sitting on that, not necessarily needing the stage though. The mosh pit, obviously a big talking point there. Limin is a good response for that with the wave of force. And Uther, you know, you can turn fight around with that Divine Shield.
Just as something slightly off tangent here, as we went into the first game, it was about 70% to 30% in the percentages for Fnatic.
Yeah.
Now, not so confident in Fnatic.
People are starting to believe. They're daring to hope again for not just Tempo Storm, but for North America in general. So that's very cool to see. And now the final pick, we can have that type of damage dealer again that punishes Uther. Uther, single target burst protect. Lunara Gul'dan would be very powerful picks for Fnatic.
I think Gul'dan is great here. You can poke the tribute channels as well. If you get safe enough positioning with the double tank, slow that down, because you're going to have a problem against that Limin with that.
Probably going to be Quacknix though, unless he flexes something like the Genji. So Lunara will be more likely, I think.
Karazim. So single DPS Genji here.
Yeah, that's unexpected actually.
Huh.
What do you think, Grubby?
I mean, I've seen Fnatic play Lunara Genji so many times, so well. It's a comfort level. They're down 0-1. I truly expected it. I didn't even see this coming. And I'm still trying to figure out how exactly that works. Now, Schwimpy, he's like 16-1 on Genji recently in the last half year or so. So truly very threatening kind of Genji.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are ways to deal with this Genji, but they have double support. You know, Li Ming not incredibly powerful against Genji if deflects are timed correctly, just like we saw with the protection coming in from Medivh earlier. That burst deterrent is there. But normally we see comps with a Genji like this that are more sustainable with something like a Morales, for example, or a Lucio. This healing, I'm a little bit worried.
Well, the thing is that they may flex as well, because it might be actually Shrimpy on the Karazim, as he's been quite prevalent in the past, or quite a while ago. But we saw something like the DPS Karazim from him way back when it wasn't really considered normal.
It's true. I do think Shrimpy is slightly better, my personal opinion, on the Genji than Quacknix, but they can still make it work that way. But I have one major question for the team fights here. When Anubrak uses Cocoon on Uther and there is no support left, can the members of Tempo Storm, specifically Brightwing and Li Ming, survive against a stage dive, mosh pit, or some Genji dive on them? And I'm afraid for Tempo Storm.
Gentlemen, we're almost ready to go in, but since it is such a severe situation now for the world champions, I want to get your predictions going into game 2. Short thoughts.
I think Fnatic did better for themselves in the draft. They have to show everything. They have the Cocoon engage, and to delete the target, I think they have the execution to do it. We might be looking at a third map.
Okay. I'm going to disagree. I think that if the positioning of Uther is good enough here with the double DPS comp on the side of Tempo Storm, they've shown good defensive engagement so far. I think we're going to see a 2-0 here for North America.
Yeah, I think execution really is the name of the game. We saw a composition coming out of Dignitas earlier today, which required all the stars to align, so to speak. You mentioned the point I wanted to bring up as well with the Cocoon. Now, it has to find value. They have to commit. They have to get kills during that. Execution against Standard. It seems like Tempo Storm have got the answers. I'm going for Tempo Storm.
Oof. All right, let's get into it. Game number 2. Will Tempo Storm vanquish the world champions? We're about to find out.
We are almost ready for game 2. I'm excited. Dread's excited. I want to know, are you guys excited? I think they're excited.
I think they're pretty stoked, understandably so. I don't think anybody would have expected that this to be the outcome of game number 1 here. And after looking at the draft, it doesn't seem like we saw that, you know, the moment of Fnatic finally showing what they brought for BlizzCon. Yes, there are adjustments, but it doesn't seem to be that big of adjustments here, at least from my point of view.
Well, it better be, because they're down 1 game. Let's get into it. We are headed to Cursed Hollow for game 2, with Tempo Storm currently leading at 1-0 in this best of 3.
Down 1 game here is going to be the world champions. You have Anubarak, played by Breeze. Quacknix is going to be on that Genji. You know, Shwimpy breaking out the old school DPS Karazim. Wubby's going to be on the ETC, and Smex on the Rhaegar. Let's hear it for Fnatic!
And playing better than they have ever played at an international event. June playing Uther, Fury on Murden, Cottonlock playing Greymane, Psalm on Li Ming, and finally Caterpillar playing Dahaka. Give it up for Tempo Storm! All right, Dread, I want to know what you think of the draft, because the double support Fnatic have finally been forced to make some adjustments to show all their cards.
You know, the Anubarak pick is the one thing to me that seems to be one of the weirdest ones. He has fallen out of flavor here. He's shown up here and there throughout the HGC finals, but in general, I'm just looking for the argument here for the Anubarak pick. Where's the Cocoon value going to go into? Yes, we talked about, you know, how it can affect the single support composition, but we've seen Anubarak come and go even when single support was the only go-to strategy. So what is the thought process? Is it boss control? Is it, you know, a cheeky play elsewhere? Fnatic here is going to be looking to flaunt that.
And you know, part of that is that Li Ming became such a good counter to Cocoon, and Tempo Storm still falling back to that mid-season brawl meta, making sure to have Li Ming, who can bust out Uther, who is likely to be the Cocoon target very quickly with the Disintegrate. And maybe it is that if you get Disintegrate, then you don't have Wave of Force for Moshpit, but it does seem like ETC being picked up in this double warrior lends more towards stage dive to make sure that Fnatic can keep up with the global pressure that Tempo Storm were just completely dictating throughout the draft.
That's a really good point that you bring up. Like, forcing the Disintegrate might be the argument of, well, then that lack of Wave of Force here for the ETC. Maybe force rather an adaptation into an isolation than force somebody, because you never want to have only one interrupt.
Exactly.
If you only have one, then it's like, well, we're going to stun the Murden. He's got 2 ways to stop that. You know he's got to be stuck in that little dance party Wubby's going to be putting on later. But we have the opportunity to go into a stage dive as well. You know, I do think that there is a bit of an argument for both, but I think ultimately I would like to see them go with that mosh pit.
We'll see if Wubby feels comfortable playing the mosh pit. He is the one playing ETC here. June and Sam under a bit of harassment as Breeze comes in for the body block, but heads up stun from June makes sure that he can keep himself and Sam safe here, and they've done quite a lot of damage to the structures for Fnatic.
Both teams looking like they're going to play the Cursed Hollow minigame here, backing out, picking up their Giants, and it's just really who is going to luck out, come out on top with this tribute spawn. The biggest advantage here will go over to Tempo Storm no matter where it spawns, just by the fact that they have the only global in this game, but it's not that much unless obviously we see the tribute spawn to the bottom half of the map. Then Fnatic might be sweating a smidge here over the first tribute.
Yeah, because they have taken so much structural damage there in the bottom already, and giving up an early fort like that, being able to take a fort without even a curse this early in the game makes things like invading for a boss all the scarier for Fnatic if Tempo Storm wants to go in for the early boss. We know that Tempo Storm has played here and there in different maps going for early boss camps. We'll have to see if that's a thing here. They don't have something like a Hungering Arrow Vala, but they do have a Greymane that is expecting the Eyes of the Dark.
Yeah, going for that Eyes in the Dark. I'm expecting a very aggressive positioning then left and right there coming out from who do we have there? And Cotton Luck on that Greymane. Tribute spawning though up into the top lane. Members of Fnatic, it looks like Schwimpy is going to be able to get this channel essentially for free as the rest of Tempo Storm defending these bottom Giants.
Yeah, Tempo Storm is all about the early pressure that may come back to bite them, giving up a tribute. But in this case, because they have kept Muradin in the mid and Dahaka is staying strong in the top lane, they're pressing forward here.
This is a very different decision-making from Tempo Storm that we've seen in all of North America, all of Phase 1, Part 1. To here. This is them identifying the lack of wave clear and rotational advantage here, the ability to clear out those Giants. Wait a minute, punishment out from Fnatic. Breeze goes in, no impale follow-up immediately afterwards. Nice stun coming out from Fury, gonna make sure Schwimpy can't go there and clean things up.
Yeah, great anchoring from Fury, and this is not the first time that you and I have felt like this series as a whole different Tempo Storm, a Tempo Storm that has finally shred the cocoon of not doing well at international events. They're up one game over Fnatic. They made plays like ignoring a kill on Wubby to make sure that they could stay alive from the clone, and that really paid dividends for them because they are up one in this best of 3, but now the positioning of this tribute not exactly ideal for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, the 3-man impale for Breeze is really the thing that's going to seal the deal, so Tempo Storm is now facing what is a curse point. But again, we need to highlight the fact that they are one of the only globals. They have the only global on the map. And whenever you have a global advantage during the curse point, traditionally, you know, you can stop a lot of the experience struggle. Fury caught out. Wanted
to go and catch, doesn't have Avatar yet, but does dwarf toss over. Stormbolt on ETC, Sun throwing out everything that he possibly can. He's still staying alive, but finally he'll fall. Fnatic claims first blood.
Nice sidestep there from Fury, but it's too little, too late. Tempo Storm trying to capitalize, sending the Greymane over to pick up that Night Camp. Tempo Storm has stuck to a very traditional early game here when looking at Cursed Hollow. Just opening with the early game Giants, looking for a mid-tier Knights as we see Fnatic essentially just mirroring moments behind the members of Tempo Storm. But Tempo, they've just been too late onto the tributes. Fnatic is getting all the same things, obviously other than the bottom fort, without sacrificing themselves those tributes. So we'll see if that curse is really going to swing the momentum here for Fnatic.
Yeah, depends on where this next tribute ends up spawning, what Tempo Storm can do with that. It will be slightly on their side, given that we already saw the one be on Fnatic's side of the last time, but it is still one that Fnatic could fight over. The anchor's here, but Breeze, he is a seasoned veteran warrior player. He knows the anchoring will be there, but this is still good setup for Tempo Storm.
The members of Fnatic are actually transitioning interestingly. I thought they were going to maybe backdoor a boss, look for a gank, but in the end, it looks like the members of Fnatic here are just comfortable giving that up. I understood the tribute sacrifice, but no other member was looking for a counterplay elsewhere. A bit of, you know, uncharacteristic play here from the members of Fnatic.
Yeah, it seems like Fnatic are still trying to figure out how they get that beautiful macro game setup that they are known for. Where is the place where they can get a couple of different places pushing? Where can they get a mercenary camp that they force someone to defend and then jump on that person, get the pick, and then get the tribute that gives them the curse? Then they get boss control after that. It's all set up there for Fnatic. They know where they want to take this game. It's just a matter of finding the right point that they can press and abuse Tempo Storm on.
See if we do end up getting Wubby to move into that mosh pit as we are heroics coming online for both teams. Cursed Bullet still the choice for Tempo Storm, but Wave of Force Disintegrate, we are yet to know. This is one of my favorite things to be able to see international stages. Oh, we do see the Wubby committing Doe to the stage dive.
And a Locust Swarm.
Wow, unique here. So Locust Swarm, more survivability, a lot more damage. You know, as we've seen, Locust Swarm was meta way long ago, but it is not nearly as high of damage as that was in that point in time, nor is it the level of survivability. But it's going to allow at least the backliners, members of Tempo Storm, they have to be really afraid of Karazim and a new Barak.
Yeah, there is so much dive right there between the Locust Swarm, Karazim, Genji, and even a stage dive.
Li Ming legitimately cannot hold her own into that 1 versus 1 whenever you have the Locust Swarm going. Greymane, yes, he can a smidge, but he typically is going to have to disengage on out here.
ETC's not here, but this is the point where he could stage dive. Caterpillar has already shown his head, goes for a drag, doesn't catch him. Schwimpy will go for the stage dive, jumping on top. It's going to split apart. Tempo Storm Psalm is in so much danger right now. Gets the miracle Divine Shield, but Schwimpy is still hacking and slashing away.
Breeze is able to keep himself up with Quacknix. It gets reset 1, gets reset 2. Nice job there with Schwimpy dropping the 7-sided strike, and Tempo Storm lose themselves 4 members and a curse quick to follow up.
Oh man, that is a lot of damage that happened really fast on the members of Tempo Storm. To lose 4 people here is detrimental to Tempo Storm's success in this game, because Fnatic are holding off on the tribute so that they can make sure and get a boss to push along with it. This is going to be a scary push.
This is absolutely astounding. How big of a momentum lead to Fnatic is going to be able to achieve after this brilliant fight. But the Divine Shield on the Psalm, last possible second there, coming up from Quacknix. And look at Breeze, holding his own on the front line, doing way too much damage, prepping everything there for Quacknix and Schwimpy, clean things right up.
Yeah, what was cool is the communication there, knowing that Quacknix didn't want to necessarily dive on over, but that Schwimpy could go through there because of the invulnerability that you get from 7-sided strike. He felt confident to go in and clean up Psalm after the Divine Shield was down. And now, speaking of cleanup, that's Tempo Storm's job, because they've got a lot to do during this curse of Fnatic.
Yeah, they're going to be wishing they had a smidge more wave clear than they actually do within their composition right now, because Fnatic is painting this thing blue, even aggressing past this mid-tier fort. Going to force the members of Tempo Storm back a little bit longer. And sadly here, we look at the curse point. The members of Tempo Storm, they have 25 seconds that they're just going to lose structure after structure, and likely Fnatic to be able to take a step back, pick themselves up a boss immediately after. And all it took was one team fight, and Fnatic does what they do best, make this game so very much into their favor. Now it looks like Tempo Storm, what are you going to do to make this comeback?
Yeah, there was a likelihood that Fnatic got a curse, but to lose 4 people to defend at the onset of that curse, and then hold off to make sure that you get the boss, you can just see it is catastrophic now for Tempo Storm that they lose nearly 3/4. Fnatic though, Fnatic are feeling good. This is the momentum swing they desperately needed in this series. They go in, they get another boss, and now they can push on.
So Gilly, I've got to ask here, we've noted Tempo Storm playing very different than what we traditionally expected from them. This is a moment where normally they would sacrifice this keep. They would let their opponent take everything and just kind of accept what is going to be the future rather than diving past, trying to force a fight. Will we see Tempo Storm innovate once again here with their gameplay and not let Fnatic get the 16 talent to your boss and keep, like, you know they are confident that they're going to be able to claim for their own?
Yeah, this really does feel like the only point left for Tempo Storm to get in at the lead that Fnatic have. Fnatic are knocking on the door, breaking it down of Tempo Storm to try to get the first keep of the game and open up a way for them to win the game.
The brush stock, they're going to try and get this force. Cattle looking or sharking around, trying to find himself a hook. Breeze takes a bit of damage, end up dropping the Locust Swarm, a cooldown that they're going to what? Wabi goes in with the 2-man power slide, forces the Avatar, but no one getting a kill quite yet.
Cattle's just looking to find where he can drag someone in, but it is avoided by Breeze. Stage dive behind the members of Tempo Storm. Fnatic are looking to get aggressive. An immediate Divine Shield force, trying to let Cawthon get some damage in.
7-sided, Schwimpy's able to get the dash right on out, but Fnatic unable to claim that keep for themselves, but 16 is just around the corner. I'm surprised to see Fnatic actually not take this experience wave, just push out that full keep as it is so very low. But they have other plans here, looking to pressure out the map, understandably so, as we know Trivia's about to round out here soon.
Yeah, Fnatic are such a disciplined team, and they know that it's their game to lose at this point. All they have to do is find a spot, maybe send in Quacknix's Genji, somebody, so that they can take down a keep and start getting the catapult pressure going. But it's about the bigger picture, and that bigger picture is the 16 talent tier. They've got a 3-level lead over Tempo Storm. This is working out for Fnatic.
It's looking very, very clean here. Just, again, that one team fight after the rotations here of Tempo, you could see the thought process. It was brilliant on the side of Tempo Storm to take that high risk 2 tribute sacrifice. But when you lose the fight 4 for nothing on the 3rd tribute, It's a little bit too much for them to be able to handle here as we see another tribute coming online without the 16 talents here. The members of Tempo Storm cannot even make the transition out, and Fnatic's capitalizing. They're going to be able to take this bottom keep while sending somebody up to the tribute. ETC has the stage dive case. You know, things get a bit shaky here.
Ooh, that's a power play for Fnatic for sure, but they still see Tempo Storm here, and Tempo Storm is posturing at least. Not going to give it for easy for Fnatic for free. There is the tribute collected by ETC.
Very interesting to see the patience here from Fnatic. The bait goes out, Fury bites off a little bit there, but it's only a cursed bullet, 30-second cooldown, nothing to worry about.
Sprays flying in this tense moment. Fnatic again regroups. They have ETC in the top. The Haka there too, hoping to get Tempo Storm 16, but it is so far away.
You know the stage dive's going to come in here, and the brush talk has to happen in that giant shrub. It's the closest brush for Cattle to make a move. So if Fnatic is successful with the initiation and dives past the keep, I just feel like Cattle's brush talk is not equal to a stage dive in this type of situation, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best spot for them, but Tempo Storm will make the most if they can, and they're continuing to sit right in front of the fort so that if Cattle does join them, it is still something that he can do for the team. But Tempo Storm really are hoping that Fnatic don't force that to happen because Caterpillar is the only thing who is soaking up, allowing Tempo Storm to get closer to 16.
Stage dive.
The switch has been flipped.
They're going to move in. Schwimpy throwing out Way of 100 Fists, getting the damage. There's Cattle. Is he going to go forward? The drag. He goes. Isolation
Fury.
drops. 7-sided. Gets Fury in a terrible position. Draws that Divine Shield.
Yeah, he has the Avatar.
Quack!
Fury's just taken out. Quacknix takes him down. And Murden is out of this fight. And Fnatic looking to draw blood on Tempo Storm. They catch Caterpillar and slice him down with the Dragon Blade.
Once again, Fnatic just pulls the trigger and blows up the members of Tempo Storm. June gets knocked back. He's going to go into ghost form, throwing out a couple of heals here, but Fnatic does not care. They are looking here towards this core.
This is a clean game for Fnatic. If they can finish it out here, only Psalm and
Wow.
Greymane. And Greymane's just about to go down too. So does Psalm. Tempo Storm has been wiped clean. Fnatic take out Tempo, and they will take game 2.
Fnatic drops game number 1, but you could tell they were upset, bringing out such brilliant play there in that last game. 10-0, a 13-minute and 50-second Cursed Hollow game. Tempo Storm, they had to feel good after game 1, but after what we just witnessed there in game number 2, I have no idea how, where they're going to be going here for game 3.
But we have to remember that Fnatic, after losing, chose Battleground choice, and this is their comfort zone. This is home for them, Cursed Hollow. And even though Tempo Storm tried to control the globals, Fnatic proved that their macro game is so strong that they don't even have to have a global. They didn't get one until 10, and they still control the board every step of the way.
It was amazing play there, but either way, we need to send it over to our analysts and figure out, what actually went down there in that game.
Seems like Tempo Storm rattled the beast here in game number 2, made them a bit angry, and they came back in a very strong showing there in the second game.
Rattled the beef?
Rattled the beast.
Oh,
the beast.
I was like, I have
Not
like a
about
mental
ETC.
I was in a mental image where they're like walking around in the slaughterhouse and like beef hanging, and they're like, that's a weird expression. I was about to add it to my vocabulary.
Not that one.
Grab some
Rattle
corn
the
hash, shake it a little bit.
So it's like shaking the cage in which there's a lion, right?
He's a weird guy.
Makes a lot more sense.
They did actually, though, rattle the beast, though, because we all thought it was Cocoon. They say, look, our composition's quirky, it's different. We had no faith. We thought it was a Genji solo DPS as the carry. They say, no, it's Locust Swarm. We're going to bring it back real old school. We're going to go dive. We're going to look for those kills, and they made it work.
Yeah, the Dragon Blades were so powerful because the only real peel that Tempo Storm had was the Muradin, which was constantly being under threat by Stage Dive, which is another flex pick that removed the weakness of the lack of globals for the team. So we're seeing these Stage Dives, forcing the Muradin out of position, 7-side strike, getting that extra damage. Really well played with these heroic adaptations.
I liked Fnatic's draft, but I didn't expect the double damage heroics, and that was a big part of how Genji was able to find his mark more easily. I don't have a replay this time because I think it was pretty self-explanatory, but that's the hallmark of a really good draft, execution, and heroic choice. Nicely played by Fnatic.
Very powerful there in game number 2. We're going to go to a short break here at the HGC 2017 finals. When we return, game 3.